First story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling some of my siblings it would be too awkward if I invited them to my wedding? Not a typical one. I have 2 biological brothers and I have 3 half-adoptive siblings and 1 stepsister. My dad married my adoptive mom when I was a year old and my brothers were a little older. My dad also adopted 3 of my step-siblings, the 3 half-adoptive siblings. I only use specifics so it makes sense. Anyway, when I was 9, my dad and mom died in a car accident, leaving all of us without parents. My stepsister took her biological siblings in, and our grandparents helped her, but they left me and my brothers go into foster care and did not keep in touch with us. They also did not let us keep in touch with our siblings. When I turned 18, I, along with my brothers, reached out to our other siblings, only to be told it would be too weird and awkward to reconnect after everything. It hurt, I'm not going to lie. I spent so many years excited to see them again, and they rejected us. Last year, my brothers reconnected with them, but I didn't. They didn't show that much enthusiasm then either. But when I announced my engagement, they got more interested and have tried since. But they have also asked me straight up about inviting them. My reply was, it would be too weird and awkward to have them there after everything. They did not like my reply. They said I'm being really unfair to them and we're still family. Yeah, but I want to know they give a care, not that they want a fun day out, because they only seem to be invested now after the wedding announcement. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. This is all very sad. I'm sorry this is your backstory. I'm glad things seem to be looking up. You've done well to make it through this kind of an ideal childhood. Understatement, with your sense of self and of right and wrong intact. Very obvious not the a-hole. Congratulations on your wedding. Thanks. It sucks. It does. I knew their older sister didn't exactly think much of me and my brothers, but I was hoping my other siblings would still care more. Like, I get it must have been weird for them, and who knows what their sister and extended family said, but we spent 8 years as family. They were all older than me and we had been close. Knowing they didn't even want to gradually build back up for so many years sucks. And we lost the people who connected us all. I miss them so much. And we lost the people who connected us all. I miss them so much. I'm not sure who you are referring to with the above. If it is your parents, all I can say is, I'm sorry. So sorry. If it is people who are still alive, please understand the choice and the option to rekindle a relationship is apparently there for you to make and take, if you want it. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty about not wanting a relationship though. Do what works for you. I meant my parents, our parents. They were the ones who made us a family. The extended family and my stepsister did not. They never considered me and my brothers the same, which I do get. It's just, I know that apparently the plans had been for them to take us all. I think my adoptive grandparents. So I will always wonder if things had just changed, or they just agreed to agreements could be made, and they could get their real grandkids without any issue. But then stepsister wanted her siblings, and it worked for them. Not an a-hole. It's weird and awkward that they'd even ask you. Yeah, you start with something low stakes like brunch and build from there. Not a wedding. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for not going along with being adopted to make everyone happy? I hate to post here because I know there are so many of these, but I really need to hear what you all think. I, 16 female, lost my mom when I was 7. My sister was 2 at the time and my brother was a few months old. Our dad met my stepmom about a year later and started dating her 6 months after they met. It was a thing for single parents. She had 2 kids who were close in age to my siblings. After they got married, things were fine at first, and then they wanted to adopt each other's kids. Her kids were excited, as were my siblings, but I did not want to be adopted. This wasn't made into a huge deal, but they really quizzed me on why, and tried to figure out if they could change my mind. They weren't able to, and I know this really hurts her feelings. Over the years, it was let go. They adopted the other kids and everyone was happy, or so I thought. It seems like it made them unhappy I said no to the adoption, and my siblings have wondered why I didn't want to be adopted too. I love my stepmom. I get along with her really well. I think she's great, but I don't love her the same as I love my mom or dad. It's different with her. Not bad, just not as close. That for me was reason enough to not be adopted. But there's also the fact I don't want my mom's name erased from everything. I know they're not trying to replace her, but if I'm adopted, her name is no longer the legal name I put down. It doesn't change biology, but it does make my stepmom my mom. And no matter how much I care about her, I just don't want her to be my mom in all official senses of the word. It has come up again because they offered the adoption again, and my answer was the same. My dad decided we needed to go to therapy, the three of us, and the therapist told them they couldn't therapy me into agreeing. My stepmom said it's not about that for her. She just wants to know what she did wrong and why I'm opposed. My dad said he feels like I'm holding back, and he said there is an unhappiness with the fact I have kept myself on the outside by not becoming a more official part of the family unit. It bothers me, but part of me feels bad that this is something that makes them so unhappy. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. The therapist told them they couldn't therapy me into agreeing. That therapist is awesome. Not an a-hole. This whole thing seems to be going in the right direction. Dad and stepmom are upset and they are seeking help. The therapist sounds like someone that might make them realize that they need to make peace with the situation. Hopefully they listen to the therapist. Both dad and stepmom seem to think that the normal response is an enthusiastic yes to adoption. Hence, stepmoms, I just want to know what I did wrong, since no is only possible because something went wrong. But Opie's reasons are so utterly reasonable and understandable. Their inability to hear her on this just seems like deliberate disregard of Opie's needs and boundaries. If you've explained your reasoning to them the way you have here, and they still refuse to hear you, then they're being a-holes. Yes, they think they're doing the right thing and they're doing it out of love, but it's misguided as hell. They're a-holes because they can't seem to understand that being part of their family doesn't have to mean cutting your mom and her legacy out of your life. Not an a-hole. Not an a-hole. No one can dictate what your feelings are. Good for the therapist for saying that. I can see where the stepmom is coming from with her "what have I done wrong" thing, but she doesn't have to have done anything wrong. You can't really help how you feel. I can see where the stepmom is coming from with her "what have I done wrong" thing, but she doesn't have to have done anything wrong. You can't really help how you feel. Same, but Opie, it's not your job beyond a certain point to make her feel better. I think you can say what you have said above in therapy, that you love her, but you don't want to lose this connection to your mom. It's not about being outside the rest of the family. It's about keeping another very important connection. The people we loved live inside us forever through these connections. Opie, sorry about your mom, honey. It's the worst. You're not the a-hole. Not the a-hole? Tell your stepmom she's not doing anything wrong except putting pressure on you to be adopted. You just don't want to erase your mother from your legal history and family. And ask your dad why you need to replace and erase your biological mother, whom he too presumably loved once, to be fully part of the family. Step-parents and step-siblings are family too. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my brother the truth about his dad and why I wasn't around? My ex-stepdad and I, 25 male, have a complicated relationship. I'm not his biological son, but my mom got pregnant when they were married. No, she didn't cheat. But due to a rule on this sub, I can't go into detail about my conception. I'll just say he hated me because I was a reminder of a horrible time, even though my mom loved me wholeheartedly. After my brother, 19 male, Steve, was born, he made it more obvious how much he didn't love me and treated Steve so much better. My mom had fights with him all the time over how he treated me, and they divorced when I was 8. They split custody of Steve, and I stayed with my mom. I was really close to my brother as we grew up and we loved spending time together. Our mom passed away when I was 20 and Steve was 14. He stayed with his dad full-time after that, and when I started trying to come over for visits, his dad told me to get lost. He refused to let me see Steve, and just because my mom facilitated a relationship between us doesn't mean he's going to. Knowing the truth now about how everything happened, I understood why he hated me so much and didn't want me around, but it still hurt not seeing my brother anymore. I came by a few more times and tried to message Steve on Twitter and Instagram, but his dad blocked me in those. I gave up in the end and let it be. Steve is 19 now, and he contacted me for the first time in years. It was awesome to finally see him again, even if it was weird to, since it felt like we were strangers. We've been talking a while, and the other day he came to my place. During our conversation, he talked about how he was mad at me for years for ditching him after mom died, and that's why it took him a while till he was ready to reach out to me. I got so mad that he told my brother that I was the one who didn't want to be around when that's all I tried to do. So I told Steve the truth. The fact that I wanted to be around him and tried visiting. Why his dad was always a jerk to me, and how that's mainly the reason why he didn't want me around anymore after Mom passed. This was a major shock to my brother, and he left. Steve didn't text me for days, till he told me it's because he left his dad's house and is living with a friend now. My grandparents, his parents, they accepted me as their family, have called to tell me off for revealing this to Steve when it wasn't going to do him any good. They're saying I've now ruined his relationship with his dad, and I should be ashamed for dragging up the past again instead of moving on. His dad is very pissed off with me, and so are they. That I should have let it be and continued rebuilding my relationship with Steve, since he was obviously not mad at me anymore over the lie his dad told him. I don't know, it feels crazy getting crap for being honest, but in this case they say it wasn't necessary when it's caused a lot of problems with Steve and his dad, since now he doesn't want to talk to him. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Isn't reasonable that they expect you to play along with their lies, which painted you as the bad, neglectful brother. His dad brought this on himself. Exactly. OP didn't ruin the stepfather relationship. He revealed the truth about the relationship and exposed the lie. The stepdad is mad not because he was ashamed of what he had done, but the truth was told. Seems complicated, and I may be missing info, but overall I have to say not the a-hole. They were all lying to him. Why should you continue to lie? What good would that do? Nah, they're a-holes. It's very complicated, yeah. They only think I should have kept up with the lie because he'd already moved on from it and wasn't mad at me anymore. What about the real problem here, which is the fact that your father held an innocent responsible for something he had absolutely no say in? If you were born in unfortunate circumstances, well, damn, that's too bad. But hating you and keeping you from your brother was a total crap move. Your brother deserved to know the truth. Lying to him, like all the rest of them are, is not the answer. Now, reconciliation is right where it needs to be. It has been long. In your father's hands. Not the a-hole. Very glad for your reconciliation with your brother. Right? His mom was able to love him despite the circumstances of his conception, and the fact the stepdad couldn't even be kind to him for her sake is just wow. I don't want to assume here, but for some men, when something like that happens to their partners, feel emasculated somehow, like it's an offense on their manhood / property rather than being concerned and upset for the victim. To me, it kinda sounds like that could have been going on here. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for saying I won't apologize because I'm not sorry? I don't want to make this long. My parents are divorced. Dad is remarried. He and his wife started dating 9 years ago, married 6 years ago. I'm 16, my brother is 14. I have a stepsister who is 15 and another who is 11. We started family therapy at my dad's request because we're not blended and he wanted to try and fix that. This incident came up. When I was 12, my mom agreed to let my friends and I go to this really cool water park for my birthday. She told me I could invite whoever and also offered me the choice to not bring my brother, but I wanted him there too. So it was the two of us and my 5 closest friends. Apparently, my 15-year-old stepsister had wanted to go and heard about it through school, and she also heard me tell my friends I didn't have a limit on who I could invite, so she waited expecting me to invite her. But I didn't, and it hurt her feelings. She brought it up in therapy as the reason she stopped caring about getting along with me and my brother. My dad was pissed, said at the time he talked to my mom, and she said it wasn't her job to include his family. He said this in therapy. The therapist asked if I would be willing to apologize. I said no. My dad's wife asked me why, and I said because I'm not sorry. That it was my birthday, and there should never have been an expectation that I would invite either of the girls because we weren't friends or close in terms of family. I said it sucked that her feelings got hurt, but she also shouldn't have snooped on me in school. She claimed she didn't, but then could bring up other conversations I had with my friends that were not loud enough for everyone to hear. And then it came out she used to try to hear what I would say about her. My dad thinks I'm wrong to not apologize for doing something that hurt her when inclusion is not a bad thing. I don't think so, but I'm open to hearing what others think. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. It was your birthday, and you didn't want to invite someone you are not close to and who snooped on private conversations. Can't say blame you for not liking stepsis. What's the saying? You never hear anything good about yourself when you eavesdrop? Not at a-hole. You handled this situation well. I hope the therapist stepped in to support you. Not at a-hole and this. I hope the therapist didn't let your dad harp on you in the session. That wouldn't be a very responsible therapist, especially considering you were 12 at the time of the event. Not at a-hole. Forced apologies are just words and don't mean anything. They have failed as parents if they don't understand and didn't teach their kids that sometimes they get to do things that other kids can't, and sometimes they can't do what other kids do. If she had a party somewhere with all of her friends, I highly doubt she would have given you an invite to hang out with them. A 12-year-old boy doesn't want his 15-year-old stepsister at a water park with his friends and peers, and that goes for her too, if the roles were reversed. And you don't need to feel bad about that. 3 years isn't a lot, but at that age, it is. And you weren't close to her, so it's completely reasonable that you didn't invite her given the option. Your stepsister needs to understand that she can't always get what she wants, and snooping on you isn't going to help your relationship any. She's 15 now, was 11 when the birthday party happened. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.